If you need copies of correspondence or announcements or anything, I do have them for you if you want them. Public Library Fund, is, just over $83,000 to, the Brown County Public Library, which means that the county got just under $134,000. As we've been talking about, the Public Library Fund has come in under projections, right, from the tax department for the whole first 5 months of the year. And, I feel like I have like 3 meetings going right now on Zoom. I know, and I'm trying to get rid of some of them. Whatever. But for the library itself, when we look at our budget, we're only 2.5% below where we should be with this many months. So we're not as bad off at our level as the state is. So I'm not really concerned at this point, but I did say to the managers, you know, we're gonna be really careful moving forward here about big expenditures, and that kind of thing. So yeah, just FYI, we don't want to be in that place where, you know, in July we all freak out. So we're gonna be careful moving forward. We did get a notice from the State Library of Ohio. If you recall, a couple of months ago, Highland County had sent us a letter asking about their boundaries because they never had made them official. We've got a letter from the State Library saying that they had approved that the boundaries, which essentially are Highland County, but not including anything that's in the East Clinton School District. So it was just as we had agreed upon when we looked at it. And then as far as Ohio Library Council, one of the things that has come up at the federal level, the Department of Labor has finalized its rules about overtime, and that means exempt employees, non-exempt employees, and they are raising significantly the wage thresholds. We've always kind of been on the border, you know, exempt positions that are exempt because of the actual duties. We haven't always met the salary thresholds for those. And so we at some point changed those to non-exempt positions, but we did an agreement, a salary agreement where basically they still do their duties as exempt in the way exempt employees would, but they're getting paid salaries, and so they're getting comp time to make up for any overages. I'll tell you what, the way that they're raising the thresholds at the federal level, we will never have managers in the position of being exempt employees because the wage thresholds are just way too high. So the annual salary, you know, beginning of 2025, so just over 6 months, is going to be just under $59,000 a year. And then it's going to go up every 3 years, and they haven't decided exactly how it's going to go from there. And that doesn't include highly compensated employees, and that's I always kind of laugh at anyway, because we'll never have anybody that they just like as a highly compensated employee. But just FYI that, you know, this is one of those things where we should probably, it makes me say, all right, we should probably look at some personnel policies and make sure everything, all the wording is right, and we don't have anything that, you know, conflicts with what is going on. Ohio Library Council has scheduled a webinar once their attorneys have gone through all of this to be able to give us guidance and make sure we're doing the right things. The state librarian did resign. I can't remember if that happened actually just before the last meeting, but they did appoint an interim state librarian, and that happens to be Beverly King, who's from the Portsmouth area. She was the Portsmouth librarian, and she actually was the state librarian at one point. And so she's filling that role. And we talked about United Against Book Bans and those book resumes that people can, I think I included one in the packets last month. They, increase their database by more than 50%, with available titles. So that's really a cool resource, and it's, being used. So that's all I've got for.
Thank you, Lynn.
Yeah.
On to financial reports and Miss Sarah.
Okie dokie. Appropriation summary is where I would start in comparing March to April, even though I feel like May is zooming by. Salaries compared to March, we were up 3,230. We had a very unusually large, first of the month payroll. And we have a lot of employees right now. Employee fringe benefits, that was also up $2,086. Purchased and contracted services up, 9,613, and library materials and supplies up 6,973. So looking at just the general fund, month to date, we were up 21,904. So things to consider. We're spending a lot of money getting ready for SRP. I've done a lot of just purchase orders for things coming up. So, we're spending money on tutors. Like I said, we had a larger payroll, a larger pay period in one of the payrolls, so, we're just moving right along in April to get ready for SRP. Month-to-date expenditures overall, gosh, this report has gotten so big. Month-to-date expenditures, you'll hear me say this number a million times, $172,620.41. So, bank reconciliation reports for the month of April, $80,695 in receipts. Our PLF for April was $55,436. We had some homestead and rollback taxes, $8,089. Services provided to other entities, we received that second quarter from Law Library, $7,281. We received some of the, reimbursement from the Ohio Department of Education. That was $4,590. And we also received a little check for claims, $2,070. I made one adjustment, for $1,000. That was some donations, Tanya had collected for the white-tailed deer that will be here in December. So they wanted a down payment, and then I adjusted it. Outstanding payments, I have a handful left from April. Nothing crazy. Cash summary by fund expenditures, like I said, 172,620. This cash summary by fund is very nice because it actually shows you each fund and where it's at. General fund cash flow, I'm looking at the bold actual April. So I already kind of talked about the revenue part. Salaries for the month of April, $72,018.86. Compared to last month, it was $68,000. That was the variant. Employee benefits, $18,557. Library materials and services, $29,979. And other operating expenditures, $24,785. So I brought in $71,454 in the general fund, and I sent out $145,340. So general bank balance, $815,140.
I have a question, stupid, I'm trying to do this electronically, I don't see the appropriation summary on the Dropbox, is that something? Paper copy of? I see the fund summary, payment, cash flow, revenue, and expenditure.
I may have dropped them all in.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing it.
Let's see. I do see appropriation summary at the very top of the Dropbox. Mine goes in alpha order.
Is that not in the financials folder?
It's in the financials folder.
That's where I'm looking, I only see 5 things.
Can you sort? Let's see if something pops up.
Oh,
I have 9 reports out
Sort or
there.
fresh.
I dropped everything on 9/17 at 9:10 AM.
Okay, now,
You see it?
yeah,
Okay, good.
sorry,
No problem.
Mark. Sometimes great.
Oh, that's
45
2
seconds.
minutes, Tina.
I like that
Yeah.
question. That was easy.
Okay.
April 2024 expenditure reconciliation reports, payments, I sent out $78,016. Our 2 payrolls, like I mentioned, that April 15th was a big one, $43,012.39. April 30th, we're back normal, 35,976. Board share, retirement, the OPERS, $11,058. Board share Medicare, 1,109. Board share health, 5,782. You'll see the local taxes out of pocket for employees for health insurance. We started new premiums in April. That was $1,439.20. My total expenditure, $172,620. So that's how I got to that number that I keep talking about. Payment, listing, I don't think, I kind of looked at it, I didn't see anything outrageous. Any questions about any of the payments that I made? You'll see that payment, just not even a quarter of the way down, the Whitetail, Acres Nursery, I paid them 1,070, and then I got a check for 1,000, so I adjusted it. Total payment, $78,016. Fund summary, try to go fast. Fund summary, open POs, $120,297.43. You'll notice the ODLAL fund, right now I have $10,124 in open POs. So those mostly are like programs for SRP that I'll start cutting checks for. Their fiscal year is gonna close at the, are you gonna talk about that? Their fiscal year is gonna close at the end of June, so our plan is to cut payments at the end of May, so we can ask for a big reimbursement, so we know where we stand for the third quarter of the year.
Okay.
That's all I have. I don't think I do. Any questions about the financials? Like I just said right through it.
You did fantastic.
Thank you.
You did fantastic. Any questions for Ms. Sarah? If not, we'll need a motion to accept, the report, pay bills, and donations.
I'll second.
Mark,
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Barb?
Yes.
Tracy?
Yes.
Tina?
Yes.
Samantha?
Yes.
Our triple Ts.
Okay, then we're on to, executive director's report, building report, and statistics.
Okay, so you got in your packets, there is the narrative report, and then there are a couple of, pages of pictures of things that have been going on. Tanya, it looks like you're pitched it, so if there are any questions for managers, you're, that's them. Yeah, yes, so I think it was just before this meeting started. So, yeah, busy. One of the things that I noticed was that a lot of the busy stuff was outreach. So it's us going outside of our branches, actually, and that's a whole kind of a different challenge than just keeping enough staff in the building, doing the things that need to be done. The other kinds of things were larger programs that were actually on site, or larger or time and labor intensive programs. So, for example, a wreath making class, we may have a maximum limit of people that can actually attend because of space considerations, but the preparation to make sure that all the materials are there and the person who is leading the, event is ready to go, those are very time and labor intensive. So, Tanya's here, if you have anything that you want to ask her about, or Tanya, if you want to offer anything, feel free. Thank you, Kathleen, very well. Yes, busy. Well, here's the thing, we are very busy, but next couple
We're
of
gonna
months
get
are gonna
busier.
be, yeah, chaos. Chaos. Important chaos, but chaos nonetheless. Yeah, Tabitha and school are breathing sigh of relief that they have a little break from something, even if they're having to do other stuff. But yeah, we're taking up some of that, seeing the students face to face. So statistics wise, as I was looking at April's numbers, I noticed that top half of our regular reporting, we really are on track for, meeting or exceeding, where we were with those same categories, from last year. I did want to point out that in the, collection area, one of the kind of a target for our staff members is to try and keep meeting going at as regular a pace as possible. And so, I look at that and I say, 500 items removed from the collection per month is pretty realistic amount. Doesn't mean you can always do that every month, but at least it helps us to, keep the workflow going. So when you see something larger than that, like 1,000 items taken out of Fayetteville, that's because they were doing some extra in preparation for book sale. So that happens. And I want to point that out as one of those things and that, talk about labor intensive, that takes a lot of time, running a report, targeting what items to remove, actually looking at and physically handling the items, checking circulation, all kinds of things that you have to consider before you actually remove it from the computer system and stamp it so that nobody can confuse it with something that still belongs in the collection and all of those kind of things. So it's not magic. It does take a lot of time and staff expertise. And then next couple of months, you can expect to see more patron accounts added as people are registering for summer reading programs and may not yet have cards. So that's something that you can look forward to in the coming months. I found it really interesting that the two items that were brought up, you had your little chat report in the narrative that Don Cheryl felt were represented with me. Two of the questions were about, what about those intern jobs? How many are available? How do I apply? All those kinds of things. So, very definitely something, and we had more applications this time. I think we have 30 applications. Yeah, so it's a, yes. So, numbers wise, things are just ticking along and, I guess that's all I'll talk about the numbers. As far as announcements, I did just hand out to you, the printed announcements. I believe I emailed them yesterday, but, in case you wanted to have them in paper, I gave that to you. And I'm going to point out just a couple of things. As of this morning, I believe it's entirely done, right? The awnings are complete?
Yes.
Yes, so the awnings.
No leaking. It's been raining for 2 days.
No leaks.
And no leaks. So,
All right,
yeah,
it's
so
working.
everything's completely finished.
Yay, done. Down in the funding, categories, we did finally get word on the Appalachian Community Grant Program. Our project, which was in a huge application, that whole application was not funded. I will tell you, I did not cry once when I read that email. I just said, God did not intend for us to have it now. Thank you, God, for that blessing, because we just got too many other things going on. What that does mean is that, we have more time, especially with the strategic planning process, to really look at facilities and do longer term planning and fundraising and that kind of thing. So it's all good. Foundation accounts, we're at the last step where we're now that we've got the money from the investment account, it's in our local savings account or the foundation's local savings account. We can now ask People's Bank to cut us a check, which will be deposited in the library's account, and then we will be done with all of that. And that's all going into the legacy fund. And the fund is set up. And the fund is set up, so we're just at that point, yay. Party with a Purpose, Heather was able to attend their event and was handed a check for $10,000. And that is going to be supporting regular STEAM activities and classes, at the Mount Orab Library. So that's a big deal. We'll be really looking forward to seeing that, rolling out. An update on the property next door. I have spoken within the last 2 weeks, both to Duke people and to, Georgetown Village. And so I'm kind of assuming that the electric in the village, they've probably done their abandonment by now. That was about a week ago, 10 days ago, I talked to them. Duke's process takes a little bit longer with the gas permitting, and so, you know, the time's still there, you know, we're waiting for all that, but our demolition guy had given us all his paperwork, we have his insurance, we have his W-9, we have everything, and he's ready when everything else is ready, so.
Georgetown is complete.
With that,
Georgetown.
is complete. I kind of figured it was, that I was getting the call then and there because they were ready and just wanted to have that last confirmation, yeah. Summer reading program. I have copies of brochures for you all, okay? There is a brochure here for every one of the branches that has very specific, you know, age groups and school times. And then there's one that says Brandon County Public Library on the front. That's a general one with all the special programs all over the place. So I'm just gonna pass them around and say, take what you want, if any. If you actually need more because you'd like to take them to some people, let me know and we'll get them to you. Lots of stuff going on. A lot of that financial activity is, yes, being done right now in preparation for the fact that we'll be doing a lot of things. And then last but not least, we did just get word that 3 of our branches were confirmed for the summer feeding program. Yay. What we can't entirely comprehend is that the one branch that was not approved is Mount Orab. Because typically it's Fayetteville that gets left out when it comes to things that are based upon school funding, school lunch, numbers. But they also used census tract information in making these determinations. And my best guess is that they looked at census tracts right around the libraries, I mean, right, the physical locations around the libraries, and Mount Orab Library has some nice upper level developments around us. And that's the only factor that has changed, in determining our eligibility. So, but one of the things that entails is that a minimum of 2 people on each of the staff, where the feeding is going to occur, have to be trained, have to submit certificates. I believe that's all done now. We do work with Children's Hunger Alliance, and they're the ones who fulfill the food itself. But the nice thing is that they have changed or updated the rules so that kids do not have to come between like 11:30 and 12:30 on site. And we can't, you know, there were rules about you can't swap, you can't blah, 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 blah. But now this time they are actually letting them pick up all 5 days worth at one stop. Where Mondays, we're gonna distribute the food and they don't come with it. So good in a lot of ways, very disappointing that Mount Orab was not part of it and she didn't find a scholarship for us to get, so. And that's
Okay, thank you, Glenn. Next is committee reports, but no committees. So we're good there. Censorship in public libraries, number 6. And that's the band book.
it is the banned books, so. What I gave you this time, and it's actually both sides of your page, it seems actually that there has been less activity along the censorship front in the last 6 weeks or so. You know, no new horrible things happening, at least on the, on my radar. But I did see this, and this was from, American Libraries, magazine, and I thought, this is something to keep in mind. Towards the end of September, Fan Books Week happens. I am not aware of any specific plans that we have at this time for doing displays or doing programming around it. That doesn't mean that won't change. But we'll also be heading into, politics season at that point, so we'll kind of just keep taking the temperature.
Yeah.
As we're deciding what to do about that, but, just FYI. And so what I did do was I included a different page from American Libraries on the back of this, because there are other things going on, other than censorship nationwide. And, this, besides the fact that I really like, I'm one of those library cat ladies, and the cats drew my attention. The library actually waives their fines by saying, show me a picture of your cat, I love that, and I thought that was a pretty cool idea, so we're fine free anyway, but, there were a couple of the little quotes on this that I just wanted to draw your attention to. The first one is in that first column in the middle. Once you convince people that something evil is coming for their children, you can pretty much get away with whatever you want to do.
Yeah, that's powerful.
And that was very powerful, and, that I think plays into the whole, why are books being banned and why is censorship happening, right? So that was, a very astute. And then the one underneath it, for 25 years, this was my dream job. The last 2 years, they've been pure hell. And I don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows, So again, you can see underneath who said this, and that a librarian was fired for pushing back on book bans. So this is something that, we look at it and we go, how can people, why don't they just go read something else, right? Don't like it, don't read it. But it really impacts the staff, the people who are doing the work. And so I thought it was just important to remind ourselves that there are human beings on all sides of this issue, and, we are trying to pay attention to that and make sure we have plenty of ways people can be prepared to deal with it and decompress if they have been exposed to it. So that's my strong session.
Thank you, Lynn. Next is trustee vacancies, interview schedule and location.
So, I don't know how this plays into the decision about the consultant or not, or if there's any timing, that we do a special meeting and, wrap both of those things into it. But that is next on our list, right? So I want to keep moving with it. Thank you, Kathleen, very much for providing the contact information for a potential, Fayetteville, library trustee. I've got that in my folder now. And along with that, I was going to go back over the list we had made initially, right? To see if, because there was one person in particular that had indicated that they really had the desire to do it, but the timing was bad. And so I thought checking over that person, because we'll have a second opening.
Was that Chuck Bates?
It wasn't Chuck, well, I can go back with him as well. There was a,
Back to him, he would be good.
yes, he would, and I can't remember. With focusing on the consultants right now, I haven't really looked at that list, recently, but there was a woman also who was, interested, but it said, this is, my child is, graduating from high school this year, just a whole bunch of things, but I'm thinking, well, then maybe the timing might be coming up right. So I'm hoping between that, and Heather also provided me with a name and a phone number as well. So I think we might be well positioned without having to, work too hard, again, to find it, but we do need to schedule, make sure we've got that done. And I wasn't sure whether you'd want to do a special meeting separate from the June meeting, or now that we also know we're gonna need to follow up with about consultants. How, you're the board, it's your time, how do you want to do that now?
Are you talking about, should we lump the two together since we're already meeting?
Yes, I mean, I guess particularly if we're going to be filling two trustee positions, right? So I would think we would probably want to interview more than two people. Okay, so if you're talking three people, you're already talking an hour and a half of just interview time, let alone discussion. We still need to figure out the consultants. So is that something you want to add on to a regular meeting? Or do you want to do two separate? I've been looking at June and I tried to fit in anything this month that I could actually do that would keep it off of June's schedule, June's agenda. I think the only thing on June that I do not have right now is the contract with the state library for delivery services. And that's supposed to be coming up again, I believe, because we're.
We had it on May last year.
Yeah, so that may be the only major item, other than, you know, status reports on all the ongoing projects that we've got. So the June meeting, regular meeting may not be terribly full. And it may be possible to go ahead and just do consultants, trustees, and regular meeting all in one fell swoop.
But didn't we say we couldn't wait till June to think?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
that's the other, that's the other.
We can't wait a month.
Right.
On the flip side, if we were to do a special meeting, do we have interviews that could be ready in 2 weeks? That's pretty quick, right?
Yeah, that's really quick.
My vote would be, you know, we have to have that separate to take care of the consultants. And then we can do on the interviews with the June meeting. And that gives us 30 days.
And if you have one of your trustee applicants say, hey, we've got a time frame in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
If you can be ready, then we can knock one out or something.
So we could possibly, yeah.
Yeah,
You know, maybe
depending
split them
upon
up or something.
availability.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
If they're
sounds
available.
great.
No, that's pretty quick.
So what I'm hearing is special meeting specifically for consultants, but if there are any trustees, we could possibly add them in. And then the regular June meeting where we handle the rest of the trustee stuff.
That
Yeah.
works.
Interviews then?
That would be interviews and so.
I may not be here. Could I watch it?
Mhm.
Could I converse about it?
Mhm.
But I
You
can't
can't
vote.
vote.
Okay,
Yeah.
just a heads up.
Yeah. So if that's the case, do we want to look at we didn't set a special meeting for the consultants before we left that special meeting earlier tonight. So do we want to set a date now or do we want to wait and do it later?
No, just go ahead and do it now. There's no
Okay.
reason to wait.
Okay,
You want me to pull the calendar?
I would say it's time to look at calendars then.
That's the 29th, it's a Wednesday.
That's the week after. If that means that
It
we
would
can
be
get-
out. I have another meeting on the 30th, but it was the 28th, 29th. Or the 31st.
I could do 27, 28, 29.
27th is Memorial.
27th Memorial Day.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
28, 29.
I can do either of those days.
Okay. 29 working for?
29 works. 29.
29. Yeah. That's what we're doing.
So that would be special meeting for consultants. Maybe trustee, maybe.
So I'm assuming Mount Orem.
Yeah, let's go ahead and say member. I don't know that there's anything special planned, but. You want to do 6 or 6:30? What's gonna work for people?
Yeah, that's gonna cool. Oh, no. 6 o'clock's fine. Yeah, I've already added it in my calendar at 6 o'clock anyway.
And then for the June meeting, are we gonna push that to 6 o'clock and for interviews or?
I would say that probably we want to do that, so that would be on June 19th, Juneteenth.
Juneteenth,
6 p.m. and.
all that.
All right. So main, special 6.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive I'll be zooming.
Okay. All right, so I guess there's really not anything more to talk about for trustees, right?
Yeah, I think we're good.
That's right, good, scheduling. All right, you want me to move on to the next one?
Yeah, well, we need a motion to approve renewal of the Ohio plan. July 1st, 2024, June 30th, 2025, at a cost not to exceed $12,750 pending review and approval by the board president.
What?
Does that need to be sent to me?
Well, I don't have the proposal yet. I just submitted the worksheet that you have, the 20-some page worksheet where you have to update all the information and.
Okay.
So it's in underwriting right now.
Okay.
And when it gets, that's why I feel like it's back,
typically
I would send it to you and.
And then- Okay,
So, what I did, and this is what I've done this in the past, is actually said, do we feel comfortable with, if Mark feels it all looks good, going ahead and, we'll go ahead and approve it, and that would take it off, not only take it off June's agenda, but it also would get it, because the renewal is July 1st, it would give them more time to give us more time to actually process everything.
That's great.
I say we trust Mark.
Yeah, we trust Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
I think it's through there.
All right, so do we need a motion?
Is that far?
Okay,
Second.
second, ladies,
I'll second. Sorry, falling
I'll give
asleep.
that one a tap, but
I'm trying to hurry, Tabitha.
Right,
Trying to hurry.
I got 5 days of school left. I'm
Mark?
sorry.
Yes,
Kathleen?
Yes.
Barb?
Yes.
Tracy?
Yes.
Tina?
Yeah.
Deb?
Yes.
all right, number 10.
Do you want to read the report, anybody?
Yes, skip that. How did I do that?
You won't get done with this meeting.
Okay, all right, let me flip back to 8.
So,
That was bad.
Sarah gave you a lot of, some information about the
Oh.
library's accelerating learning grant and, that we're really working on getting money spent up front because we do have a hard stop on this grant. And for us, we essentially want everything spent by the end of August so that we have September to make sure that we've done everything and have all the reports in. So what I've been doing is kind of keeping a running, this is more of a, what do we think we have yet to spend, and how does that compare with the funds that they are told we have available? So we're whittling it down, but May is a huge expenditure month, both in terms of supplies for grant activities during the summer, and also for contracts for, summer reading program performers. So there's gonna be a major revision of this come June meeting. So I hope that we are showing the negative by that point. That's my target, is to say, we are gonna overspend this by $1,000 and use $1,000 of our own money. And because we have actually upped the number of interns, we had so many applications, the Department of Education said, oh, it's working well, you're gonna do the same thing but more of it, go ahead and spend more money, so we can be like that. Well, they're not gonna give us more money, but I can put more money towards that, so if there were some other areas that fell short, we definitely, have got some places where that's covered. I mean, there are actually a lot of staffing things that are just, it takes more people to do it than we realized at first, so that's where a lot of this is coming in. But that's what I wanted to be sure that we knew about, what our plan was, I'm broken record, but it really is more difficult than you might imagine to spend $250,000. A lot of work.
What does Friends mean, this $11,000?
So, PERS, because they're, staff members, so. The kind
Oh,
of,
okay.
yeah,
Benefits, okay.
yeah.
Okay, number 10, motion to approve the renewal of lease book contract with Baker and Taylor for 10 books per branch per month at $9,431.52, which includes a 2% discount for payment within 90 days of the invoice for the period 7/1/24 to 6/30/25. That's your chartreuse.
Yeah, or neon green, or whatever you want to call it.
So we need a motion.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Mark,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Tracy, Tina, Tabitha.
Yes.
Number 11, I need a motion to approve the disposal of property, which would be your straw colored sheet.
Straw. That's like blonde water because.
Straw?
I'll second.
Thank you.
I think Perky wasn't doing the motion, I was too busy laughing.
Yeah, I said who moved it.
Oh.
No,
Tabitha did.
I didn't. I was asking who did. Oh, you want me to? Okay. Sleep over here. What's happening?
Tina, did you second?
Sure.
I'm over here breaking out in hives all over my body. I'm tired.
I'm so.
What is happening?
Did you second?
Okay, but I never said anybody motion, and I said who moved it, and I meant to say who motioned, and I said who moved, and then he said, how did that would be?
How about Mark,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Tracy, Tina,
Yes.
Tabitha.
Yes.
So I'm gonna do 13 before 12. So 13 other business, and then has something.
Yeah, so those big storms we had, we didn't have any leaks, but, an HVAC unit that zapped at Mount Orb to the tune of $14,161.36.
Lightning, that's, you could turn that in if you wanted to.
But do we want to?
I mean, it's purely a judgment call. It's something that is covered by insurance. What's our deductible again?
$161.36. $1,000, yeah.
If it's,
Well, some of it, yeah, I mean, some of it was even under warranty, but they haven't. HVAC, can you get replacements for 3-year-old equipment because they've changed the Freon rating? No, you
It's-
cannot.
it's lifetime and quality is what the insurance would pay. But go ahead, because obviously that didn't end in your mind.
It did, but I consciously chose not to turn it into insurance because we had such a huge loss for the last year and a half.
You're already stating. So it doesn't,
When it rains, it pours.
it, you see, and the other thing too with insurance, they look at what type of claims and how much was paid. And did you do anything stupid, right? So wind, hail, lightning,
Yeah.
acts of God. If Tanya accidentally left the water on and it spilled everywhere, then the insurance company's gonna say. So,
Okay, well, I mean, really, that was, I thought, $14,000, we do have the money in the capital.
Yeah, if you
But,
have the money
Mhm.
and we don't have to turn it in, then do it,
Okay.
that's
That's
fine.
a better option if we actually have cash.
If the cash is available and you don't have to turn in an insurance claim, because in theory, you're only turning in catastrophic events.
Right.
You don't want to nickel and dime them for every
Right.
silly
Okay.
thing that happens.
Okay.
And then it becomes a personal judgment call,
Yeah.
that's all. So
Well,
do we have to vote on this?
I would prefer that you go ahead and vote and approve that expenditure of money, and then if we end up doing something different with insurance, then great, we'll get insurance reimbursement, but I just don't feel moved to do that right now.
Trust you, God.
Yeah, that's good.
Trust your gut, okay.
So then if you don't turn it into insurance, I'm confused with that understanding. Is it gonna make our insurance go up
Yes, you run that risk.
So,
by that much money?
No,
The risk of it increasing supersede paying 14,000 out of the pocket?
well, you also run the risk of being dropped too, with too many claims. You really need to manage.
So that's the issue.
Yeah, you need to manage what you're turning in, what you're not turning in, and does it make sense?
if tornado came through and the roof blew off, insurance is under this.
Yeah.
But for this, we expect at some point equipment's going to age out and die anyway, and so we try to be ready for that, and so I just told Heather she can't have anything else break.
Okay.
Can you?
We're gonna vote.
We, so you don't get extra estimates because you tried.
So we need to.
I move that we spend the money to pay for it.
Need a second?
Wonderful.
I'll second.
Thank you.
The 14,000, hold on, the 14,000 will cover the replacement.
Yes, the 14,161.36 is a hard quote.
Okay, all right.
Mark,
Yes,
Kathleen,
Yes.
Barb,
That's
Yes.
not fair,
Karen.
because it's like we, well, just the house.
Tracy,
Yes.
Tina.
Yes.
Yes.
I always copy them from the year before.
I need a motion to enter executive session to consider the employment.
When I sent
I'll second.
I'll move.
I need a second,
I did.
okay.
Here, wait, I'll-
We're in. This is it.
We are the whole stress.
This is
But you-
it.
What am I doing?
Did you move?
I did not.